Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Asmogan and today I have some interesting news. GW fucked up again.
Here we go again.
I know. Hold the shock. Hold in your breath. I'm sure all of you are like, oh, cannot be. Asmogan, this is unheard of. Smarm aside, this comes from the Imperial Herald or the Impy Herald over on X. Regular kind of news style account that regularly posts stuff all the time. Not in a LARPy kind of way, at least not often anyway. Most of the first few screenshots from this post of them kind of discussing the Femstodes debacle as a whole. And I'm not going to read this off simply because, no disrespect to the Imperial Herald, but it pretty much breaks down to they think it could have worked if insert thing that has no relevance to anything because it's not the case stuff. No offense to the Imperial Herald, but I don't find that worth reading. Again, if you're gonna take that as disrespect, feel free, but it's just not worth reading because it's a huge, not cope, but it's a huge, well, if reality were completely different, Garfield would be on all pillows and everything would be lasagna. Like, are we gonna play that game like in a different reality of the universe kind of thing? It's just not worth reading to me. I will link this in the description and in the pinned comment for those who do want to read through it. But again, it's just a big what if of a reality that's just not the case, nor I don't think going to be the case. It's too late. GW have already pulled the "they were always there" card, so too late. You can't pull that genie back into the bottle and toss the bottle and say you never had it. They already fucked up. They already spat in our faces. That's not going to be undone. So again, just not worth my time. Now, the rest of this, the threaded 3D printing, we will get into that. And it does have a direct relation to the actual title of this video and the actual main focus. So the threaded 3D printing. The Imperial Herald says the following. Moving on, will this move play out for GW? Now, I am sure that the Amazon deal has put dollar signs in the eyes of upper management at GW HQ, who are happy to take it up the chuff from Jeff Bezos. You gotta, one thing I would definitely say I like with the Imperial Herald, they kind of have my sense of humor. To get to the show up and running. But will this show drive business to GW? Firstly, who's to say it will even do well? Either other niche fandom shows aren't thriving despite having an original fan base. Willow flopped, The Witcher is bleeding fan support, and even The Rings of Power wasn't able to make a Tolkien meat suit that was worth watching for most viewers. Secondly, oh, by the way, I fucking love that. That phrasing is amazing. And even The Rings of Power wasn't able to make a Tolkien meat suit. I loved it. Perfect way to put it. Well, I would throw in a little bit more flavoring there, but I'm a bit more crass. That's a very appropriate way to put it. So credit to the Imperial Herald on that one. Secondly, GW has a high financial bar of entry for customers, which only goes up and never down. So say GW's Gambit pays off, and there is a show that does so well that you actually have fans that want to buy, paint, and play Warhammer. How does a 70% discount on all GW products sound? Whether it is 3D printing, downloading books on PDFs, third-party crafting equipment, etc. All of Games Workshop's brand can be outsourced to third parties without loss of product quality. And in fact, oftentimes to the benefit of the product quality. I just ordered, and you guys probably noticed the cardboard box behind me, as much as it takes away from the feng shui of the background. In that box, I have, and I can actually show you guys the image. Now, it just arrived today, but in this box, I have a Custodes Dreadnought in there. Fully 3D printed, only cost me about 45 bucks, something like that. And yeah, all the parts are there, 3D printed, right off of Etsy. Got it right from a 3D printer. Didn't involve GW at all, and it was cheaper than GW's own product. And it's a lot more detail, and it comes with instructions. It's got the full 9, and again, barely cost me even 50 bucks. Pretty good deal. And I could have got the STL, the same thing, and printed it off for a fraction of that price. And it looks better than the GW product. So, just saying. Often to the benefit, you go to third party for better quality stuff. Even Fanon like the Dornian Heresy and Astartes has shown that the lofty Black Library writers can be switched out, giving a higher quality product than some of the output of the mother company. What does GW actually provide? At the end of the day, GW, all you really provide is aesthetic, cohesion to a grimdark universe. And they really haven't been good at that over the last decade, so... Not even that. Honestly speaking, the only thing I think GW provide, and they don't do it anymore, and they haven't for a while. A lot of people, including myself to an extent, kind of latched onto the idea that they were still doing this, but again, if you think in hindsight, they really haven't been doing this for a few years. The one thing GW really provided was a single core source for everybody to come together. You know, they provided, you know, the Warhammer stores, obviously for like the physical side of it, but they acted as an actual like beacon in which everyone could come together and be like, oh, okay, this is the circle we are all gonna kumbaya around, you know. But in reality, again, they haven't been doing that for years. Warhammer stores versus going to each other's houses and building like these big play tables with each other, or going to just normal game stores that happen to open up some spaces, not necessarily Warhammer specific stores. Tabletop simulator for those who can't even really do that much. The options to completely cut GW out, even as a beacon in which to, you know, unify multiple people from different parts of the hobby to come together, it's just proving to be more divisive than it is unifying. So they haven't even really done that. Honestly speaking, GW are in all ways completely unnecessary. And if they weren't such copyright litigious assholes, they would have already been cut off years ago. They are the one thing that has kept them running, despite the fact that they have done nothing to keep up with the growing technology and the growing spaces around them, where 3D printing is becoming more and more and more and more and more accessible and easy to get into. They've done nothing to evolve with the times in those kind of meaningful ways and prepare for the eventuality that 3D printing will outpace them entirely. They're not doing anything. They're trying to hold on to the old market and hold on to the old techniques and stuff, and just selling the model kits and thinking that's going to work forever. It's not. It would don't get me wrong, it would last a lot longer if you still had fan support. If you guys were actually loved by the community, you guys would be set for decades, because fan goodwill, fan love can keep you going for a long time. Again, even in the face of 3D printing, which in so many ways is better than going to you guys, fans, if they're loyal, if they are appreciative, if you have earned their respect enough, will intentionally overlook the benefits of 3D printing to support you because they feel you've earned that money. You have done nothing actively, GW, to earn that support, earn that fan love. Except from the addicts who have delusionally convinced themselves through pretzel logic that because, this time I painted this GW miniature or assembled this GW miniature, I was in this depressive state where I was going to end myself in Minecraft. But I didn't, because this calmed me down and gave me... Little did they realize, you didn't provide that. You didn't. They provided themselves with that with the time they took with the miniature. Switch that out for any other brand, any other game, like Bolt Action / Conflict 47, or Warlords and Hordes, or War Machine and Hordes. There are so many other that could be filled in terms of the gap. It's only the deluded psychos out there who have convinced themselves via pretzel logic that they owe you some kind of life debt. When in reality, it's all fake. GW doesn't care for you. They care for your money. Plain and simple. So if you're one of those people out there who are defending or backing GW because you have this psychotic belief that you owe them because they've provided you with this amazing hobby and all that, they haven't. All the people who created 40K, the original creators, are gone. Only a handful of the original writers are still around. And even then, which ones? You owe GW nothing, and they owe you everything. But yet, they spit in your face, lie to you, and gaslight you. Have some self-goddamn respect, and stop sucking their cock. Moving on. Remove the cohesion and the grim dark, and you remove the reason to invest in your products. The rest can be sourced without you ever seeing a penny. True. To highlight my point, let me introduce someone GW employees may know. Roland Underwood and his Ultramarine army. Cheers for reaching out, by the way, Roland. I've tagged pics of his army here for you to admire. Pretty impressive stuff, I must say. Now, again, I'm gonna leave the actual read there. Because I do want to say, go read the rest of the Imperial Herald post, and I don't know if there's any kind of like support that might do, but maybe follow them and read the rest of it. But that does lead us to the main thing here today. This is from a official White Dwarf magazine produced by Games Workshop directly, and it showcases a fan put together army of Ultramarines. As you can see, it's not a very high quality photo. There's a lot of pixelation, but we'll see some better screenshots of it here in a second. But as you can see, very big Ultramarines army. I'm not a huge fan of Ultramarines, but we don't need to get into that. Not relevant. Regardless, they got some awesome Titans in the background. You've got all of these tanks. You've got all these models. Looks really, really rad, right? For someone to have amassed this kind of collection, they had to have spent tens of thousands of dollars, minimum $40,000, right? Like, look at all of this. Some of these kits are super expensive from GW. Damn. Well, what if I told you very little to none of it was from Games Workshop? Yeah. Let's keep going. So, Scions of House Theo. To accompany the Warhammer Visions article in Roland Underwood's Ultramarine and Titan army, this little interview goes into the sheer scope of surely one of the largest private collectors out there. Let's keep going. And this is another, like, close-up screenshot, and I believe this is Roland Underwood, but we'll get into that. As this person points out, the only genuine, and what they mean by that, is only GW official model in this particular screenshot of Roland Underwood's army. The only thing that's GW official, and to be quite frank, it could just be a very, very convincing recast, is the Librarian. Everything else is 3D printed or recasts. Here's another screenshot of the army. Roland Underwood, like in this screenshot here, says only genuine model in this pic, and it's of his army, is of the Librarian. Everything else is 3D printed or recasts. That's what he himself has said. These are directly from Roland Underwood. Hey dude, first off, fucking love your page, never miss a beat. So, it was about the 3D printing thing. A few years back, I appeared in GW's magazines, White Dwarf, Visions, with a 24-page spread showcasing my Ultramarines army. They used it to promote their newest release, Betrayal at Calf. Was given my Army of the Month, parts of my army were used in advertising, dramatic shots, etc. Unbeknownst to them, the entire army, apart from the Warlord Titan, was China and Russia cast. So recasts. Now, I continue to stick the middle finger up to them with Legions Imperialis by 3D printing that and pirating their rulebooks and supplements too. Well done to you, sir. They want to fuck their fanbase over? Well, they can take it dry too. Double salute to you, sir. I've kept this one very close over the last few years, but after this latest fashion fad statement from them, well, fuck them. Keep up the good work. Kindest regards, Roll. And here's more responses from anything Forge World was a recast. The standard knights, only one was a gen, I think. The flyers are all China cast. Basically, I took the models up to Warhammer World and laid them all out. Then a few higher ups came over, my R's started going, but then they were all, these are so cool, love how you've done them, etc. About half an hour later, Dan, it sheds out the rest of the name, comes out and says, would you mind if we featured them in White Dwarf? Said no worries. Asked which edition. He says December 25th to coincide with the release of the new box set, Betrayal at Calf. When the editions came out, I was genuinely surprised to see some of my tanks and flyers alongside the official stuff, basically promoting the new release. So yeah, GW fucked up in one of their old White Dwarfs. They featured an entire Ultramarines army, God knows how many points, especially once you start doing in the Titans. Nearly the entire army was recasts, and not their official sculpts, and they had no clue. Now, of course, this is really just kind of throwing on the continual shade onto Games Workshop. And yes, this is, some people are going to say, well, this is an old White Dwarf. Why are we talking about this now? Well, it goes to showcase, whether or not we're talking about just the female custodians thing, it does go to show the threat of 3D printing. Because here's the thing, part of the cope with 3D printing, as you will, from the community, as to GW's fear of it or not, is that, well, you can't play them at official tournaments because GW will know and they'll throw you out. GW has rules against 3D printing. Here's the thing. GW looked at this whole fucking army on one of their tables in Warhammer World and just simply said, wow, that's cool. Can we showcase you in our own magazine? They took photos of them. They edited those photos into the White Dwarf. And at no point during the whole time were they physically in front of the minis, probably picking a few of them up with permission and looking them over. At no point during that, at no point during editing the magazine, at no point of them actually reviewing the final product of the magazine and all the photos, did at any point they stop and realize, fuck, these aren't our sculpts. These aren't these are recasts. At no point did they even realize it. And that was years ago. They've only become less passionate and more dispassionate. They've become less scrutinizing. And again, this comes to show you 3D printing has only improved since then. That GW can't even tell what's 3D printed. So you could, by all means, 3D print a whole fucking Games Workshop army, and as long as the sculpts look slightly similar to their design, they probably won't catch you. They won't call you on it. You could play a whole 2K tournament with a huge bracket of people, win the whole thing, probably win an award and some money, and no one there will have a goddamn clue that you 3D printed it, that you recasted it. It goes to show, Games Workshop, we don't need you. And you can't even tell when we're not including you.